When it comes to fresh whole foods, I have a lot of clients, a lot of pet owners that make food for their pets, and I'm totally fine with that as long as you're working off of a recipe so you know that everything is balanced properly. I do sometimes have concerns, however, with people making raw food at home. I think there is a realistic concern for contamination and foodborne illness issues, not only for the dog, but potentially for people in the house. When you buy a commercially made raw food diet for your dog, what you're buying is a diet where the company has gone through a lot of steps to make sure that that product is not bacterially contaminated before it leaves their facility. The same cannot be said for the meat that you buy in the grocery store, because the meat in the grocery store was never intended to be eaten raw. Therefore, they don't go through all those safety checks. So there's a pretty good chance that any piece of chicken that you buy at the butcher counter at your grocery store is going to be bacterially contaminated. Far, far less chance if you buy like a frozen raw food made with chicken for your dog. So I do usually encourage people, if you're going to feed raw, it might be better to just go ahead and buy it just for safety's sake. You know, if you're making food at home, whether it's raw food, whether it's fresh food, whatever it may be, sourcing of ingredients is so critically important. You know, I think we all know from our own health that sourcing of ingredients is important. But I think, you know, people don't always necessarily realize all the various factors. I mean, obviously, we know that foods that may be contaminated with, say, pesticides or herbicides is a bad thing, which is a good reason to buy organic. Something that people don't necessarily think of, particularly when you're talking about meats, is the nutritional quality and value of that meat has an awful lot to do with what that animal was being fed. For example, grass-fed and grass-finished beef has a completely different nutrient profile than does feedlot beef. And that grass-fed, grass-finished beef is way better for both you and for your dog. I understand that buying these ingredients is expensive and ultimately, you know, you have to do what is sustainable and affordable in your life. But buying the freshest, cleanest ingredients you possibly can. If you have like a farmer's market or something in your neighborhood, that's a great way to do it. Just like with us, we're trying to keep these guys away from contaminants and nutrients that may not be good for them. If you're really interested in a fresh whole food diet, but you're not necessarily in for buying a bunch of, you know, raw ingredients and prepping that and balancing it out, I have solved that problem for you. I've created Nutra Complete, which is a freeze-dried raw food. So all of the fresh whole food ingredients are taken raw, they're freeze-dried, so in other words, just the moisture is pulled out of it at low temperatures. So it's minimally processed. It does not have all of the sort of the problematic aspects of, say, like Kibble or canned or anything to that effect. It's so great for your dog. They absolutely love it. And the great thing about it is, because it's freeze-dried, it's really easy to handle, it's shelf-stable, doesn't weigh much, so you can travel with it very easily if you're going away with your dog. It's a really, really great all-around option.